Hello and good morning. My name is Matthew Vu.
I'm Shay Parker.
I'm Annabelle Martinez, and we're the Introduction to Business Presentation team from Centennial High School.
According to the Family Online Safety Organization, over 44% of millennials receive their daily news from a social media outlet. This makes Facebook the most common place where millennials receive their news, especially when it comes to government and politics. Close behind Facebook is Twitter, where an alarming 71% of the 330 million users receive their news information from this social media platform.
According to a survey conducted by Pointer.org, 65% of Americans believe that news from social media is inaccurate. Americans also believe that 39% of news gathered from newspapers, TV, and the radio is also flawed.
In 2016, a Pew Research poll found that 64% of U.S. adults believe that all fake news has led to a great deal of confusion when it comes to understanding the situation at large.
There are many factors that led to a general sense of distrust in the media today. Newspapers were once a crucial part of the American news landscape, but the print industry has been hit hard in recent decades as more and more Americans are turning to a digital world for their news.
According to the Alliance for Audits in Media, the estimated circulation for U.S. newspapers has slid from nearly 60 million in 1993 to 31 million in 2018. At the same time, ad revenue from U.S. newspapers has crashed from nearly $50 billion in 2006 to a mere $13 billion in 2018. In stark contrast to its physical counterpart, the digital media industry has blossomed within the last decade, thanks to the rise of news aggregation sites such as Facebook and Reddit in the early 2000s.
According to the Pew Research Center, the percentage of Americans that receive news from digital sources skyrocketed from 46% in 2016 to over 53% in 2018. The digital media business has also turned out to be extremely lucrative. The share of newspaper advertising revenue rose from 11% in 2011 to over 35% in 2018. This has led to digital sources using unscrupulous practices to attract more traffic to their online news articles.
According to results from Gallup polls conducted between 2003 and 2016, 45% of Americans have distrust in the media because of misleading, inaccurate reporting, alternative facts, lies, and, or fake news. Bias, slanted, and unfair reporting account for 42% of the disbelief. 10% cite hype, sensationalism, and clickbait as their reasons. Here we have the media bias chart, where companies more closely aligned to the center represent unbiased reporting, and those nearer to the top demonstrating high-quality, fact-based news articles.
Clickbait is a common tactic used by big and small companies alike to elicit additional article traffic. 33.54% of mainstream media headlines, or 39.26% of unreliable media, is considered clickbait, according to a report by newslab.org.
In conjunction with the hypersensationalism, an editorial tactic used in mass media in which events and topics from news stories are picked to arouse the most excitement can lead to biased impressions of the actual event rather than neutrality and can lead to the manipulation to the truth of the story.
Clickbait and hypersensationalism has also led to a higher percentage of Americans sharing fake news. About 60% of US adults have admitted to sharing fake news on social media, according to CNET. Most of these users were over 65 years old. Over 59% of links shared on social media aren't even clicked at all, according to pathos.com.
This means that articles are being shared based off of just the emotional content in the headlines. Once these articles get busted for being fake, they have already been widely spread, leading to a greater sense of distrust in the media. Even something as simple as the weather report can be over-dramatized and faked.
Essentially, it is up to the individual consumer to make sure that the news that they are receiving is accurate. Unfortunately, access to quality pieces of journalism are hidden behind paywalls in which the consumer must pay to read the full article or has a limit to how many articles that they can read.
This means that much of what is made accessible and shared as news on social media, where many Americans get their news, is driven either by salacious, emotionally driven rhetoric and clickbait headlines, or is heavily influenced by ad based sponsorship, therefore filtered by a targeted agenda. This is central to restoring users' trust in the media industry, as news needs to be made more accessible to all.
Once the news has been made accessible, the next step is prioritizing facts over conjecture with regards to breaking news. This rush to always being the first often leads to inaccurate information being presented as facts. We concede, however, that in this day of hyperinformation, Sitting on a story until all the facts come in may not be an option. Then, at the very least, if inaccurate information is reported, the agency needs to quickly correct the errors, admit to their initial mistake, and get the correct information out to the public.
The process of providing the most accurate information and correcting it when it is wrong will humanize the industry and show the consumer that they are willing to go the extra mile to make sure they get it right. Hiding behind mistakes and false reporting will do the industry no favor when it comes to reestablishing its trust with the consumers, the readership, and the viewers.
Once a news story is written or produced, not only does it need to be made economically accessible to the public, it also needs to be made consumable by people from all walks of intellectualism, or as Mark Twain put it, a man who does not read does not have an advantage over a man who cannot read.
The news that gets reported needs to be understandable, reported without pomp and circumstance, so that anyone who wants to be informed can be. People who want to be informed should not be limited by their educations.
So not just those who are rich and have economically renowned.
Yeah.
According to CNET.com, 60% of those who were polled had shared fake news in their lives. The best solution is to hold ourselves to the highest level of accountability, and we need to arm ourselves with the weapons to combat fake news. We also need to celebrate those such as Snopes.com and FactCheck.org who built their businesses off fact-checking and advocating for websites that publish accurate, objective, and unbiased news.
Once again, I am Matthew Vu.
I'm Shay Parker.
And I'm Annabelle Martinez, and we are the Introduction to Business Presentation team from Centennial High School. Thank you for your time.